Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a great lesson. We've been building up to this since we started off at the very beginning with lesson number 1. We talked about building a foundation, laying the foundation. Well, we've done that. We told you also in verb numbering, there are 10 things you can do to a verb. 0, infinitive, leave it alone, the AR, ER, or IR form. Number 1, the present participle, the ING, ando y yendo. Number 2 is the past participle, the ado, ido, the ED form. Number 3 is the present tense. 4 is the preterite. 5 is the past imperfect. 6 is the future. 7 is the conditional. 8 is the present subjunctive. And 9 is the past subjunctive. Okay, so here we are. How do we form the present subjunctive? Well, it goes all the way back to the present tense because the present subjunctive is basically an opposite vowel mirror image of the present tense. So all those crazy things that happen in the present tense, you're going to see that they're going to happen here in the present subjunctive, and a few other things happen as well. We're going to see that. When we did all 5 commands, right, we know that all 5 commands also come from the present tense. The 4 opposite vowel commands, the usted, ustedes, the we command, right, and then the negative 2 command, those are all opposite vowel, and guess what? Those are also the same form that you use for the present subjunctive. So when we learned the present tense, all we had to do is turn it around with an opposite vowel, essentially, and that's the present subjunctive. And those are your 4 opposite vowel commands, the usted, ustedes, the we command, and the negative 2 command. And then the positive 2 command is just the el, ella form of the present tense. So that's why we spent so much time on the present tense. So let's see what we have here. We have our clusters. First of all, we have regular verbs here for this. Then we have all these stem changing verbs, etc. This cluster and this one go together. Then we have these stem changers, etc. They're going to go with this big cluster here. Then we're going to take a look at the irregulars in the present subjunctive. And then we're going to take a couple of verbs here that have double duty. They have 2 types of stem changes happen in the present subjunctive. So let's go here. Ganar. Let's conjugate ganar in the present subjunctive. You take gano, change that O to E. It's the same as the usted command. Gane, ganes, gane, ganemos, ganen. Trabajar. Trabajo becomes trabaje. Trabaje, trabajes, trabaje, trabajemos, trabajen. Comer becomes coma, comas, coma, comamos, coman. Leer becomes lea, leas, lea, leamos, lean. Escribir, escriba, escribas, escriba, escribamos, escriban. You just swap out to the opposite vowel. Now let's try this one. Empezar, we know it's an IE stem change, all but nosotros. So it's empiece with a CE at the end, empieces, empiece for el, ella, then we as empecemos with a CEMOS. Remember, Z changes to C in front of an I or an E, and then the they form would be empiecen. Remember, we're going opposite vowel. Perder, the opposite vowel is going to be A. It's an IE stem changer. You get pierdo, change it to the opposite vowel, pierda, and run it through. Pierda, pierdas, pierda, perdamos, no stem change, pierdan. Let's go with volver, to return. It's an O to UE. Vuelva, vuelvas, vuelva, volvamos, and vuelvan. Let's go with poder, to be able. It's a UE stem change, opposite vowel is A. You take puedo, change the O to A, and run it through. Pueda, puedas, pueda, podamos, puedan. I think you've picked up on it now. The yo form and the el, ella, usted, it form, they're both the same. Pueda, pueda, right? And then the 2 form of the present subjunctive is just the same as those 2 forms, but with an S. The ellos, ellas form is the same, but with an N. And then the we form here does not stem change. Let's go with jugar. Jugar, the U goes to UE. It goes juegue, but it's a G-U-E, right? The verb jugar, that G is a hard G sound. We must maintain the integrity of the hard G sound. So juegue, do our stem change, J-U-E, and then it's G-U-E. If we didn't put the U in at the end, it would be juegue, juegue, the soft G sound. We need to maintain the integrity of the hard G. Juegue. So let's roll through it. Juegue, juegues, juegue. The we form is not going to have the UE, but at the end it's going to have it. J-U, G-U-Gemos, G-U-E-M-O-S, juguemos. And play, do a group of play in the present subjunctive, jueguen, jueguen. Let's go with continuar, okay? Continuo with an accent on the U. We're going to change it to an E. Continue, accent on the U. Continues, accent on the U. Continue, on the U. Continuemos, no accent. And continúen, accent on the U. Enviar, to send. Envío, AR verb, it's going to be envíe, accent on the I. Envíes, accent on the I. Envíe, accent on the I. Enviemos, no accent. Envíen, accent on the I. Okay, let's take a look at this cluster. E to I. Let's go with servir. These are going to happen in all 5 forms. All 5 forms, all of this is going to happen. Here we go. Sirva, S-I-R-V-A, and then you roll it. Sirva, 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 sirvamos, sirvan. Next one is pedir. Pida, pidas, pida, pidamos, pidan. Pedir is to ask for something. Recoger is to pick up something. With the J-A, recoja, recojas, recoja, recojamos, recojan. Hacer, to do, it's a go verb. Hago, ER verb becomes haga, roll it. Haga, hagas, haga, hagamos, hagan. Same thing here with salir. Salgo becomes salga. Salga, 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 salgamos, salgan. Let's go with venir, to come. It's a go verb. Vengo, venga, vengas, venga, vengamos, vengan. Now we got decir. It's another go verb, but that goes E to I. So it's like this. Digo, D-I-G-O, put the A on it. Get rid of the O. Diga, digas, diga, digamos, digan. Now let's go with a cargars verb. Okay, practicar, that's a hard C. Jugar, that's a hard G. And rezar is a Z. What do we know about Z? Anytime Z is followed by an I or an E, you have to change it to C. Okay, that's just a rule in Spanish. Z changes to C in front of an I or an E. Let's go with practicar. Well, we know it's going to end in E, but it's a cargars R, so it's going to be Q-U-E. Practique, practiques, practique. Let's practice. Practiquemos, that's the we form, but it's also the present subjunctive. We're going to show you how to use the present subjunctive. Right now, all we're focusing on is how to conjugate it, right? So it's practique, practiques, practique, practiquemos, practiquen. Let's go with jugar. Well, we know it's a UE. Let's go. Llegar. Same thing. It's a UE. Llegar. Llegue, llegues, llegue, lleguemos, lleguen. We need the U on practiquemos and lleguemos all the way through for all 5 forms for both verbs to maintain the integrity of the hard sound of the infinitive. Rezar, rece, rece, R-E-C-E. Sounds like that Michael Jackson song. R-E-C-E. Rece, reces, rece, recemos, and recen. There you go. So now we've conjugated and we've confronted all our demons. All this stem changing baloney, it's getting easier and easier. It's like breaking in a shoe. When I teach the lesson for the first time on the big board and we go over it and practice it, that's like buying shoes and putting them on for the first time. They're not going to feel that great the first time, but we've put that same shoe on again and again now. We've been using the present tense in many different examples throughout all of our lessons. That's why these shoes are getting worn in now and they feel comfortable. And you know what? When we all started out learning Spanish, including myself, I had no background. Nobody around me spoke Spanish, right? Neighbors didn't speak Spanish, right? I was just like you guys. We're like a blank picture frame or a painting frame. There's no painting, there's no canvas, there's no paint, there's no cardboard. There's no paper. It's just a blank frame, right? But as we start to learn Spanish, we start to fill in that frame. And after a while, our Spanish skills and knowledge look like a piece of Swiss cheese inside of that frame, right? There's a hole here, a big hole here, a small one here, and so on. It's still got a lot of holes in it, right? But guess what? The more and more we practice and get better, and the more and more knowledge we acquire, we start filling in those holes. And sooner or later, those holes are going to be small, like the size of a BB. And then guess what? You're going to get it all down, and you might have a little hole or there, right? But you know what? You're going to become fluent if you stick with it. You will become fluent. You just got to want it, you got to practice, and you got to use it, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Go from a blank picture frame to a beautiful painting, however that painting is as you envision, whatever it may be. A landscape, a portrait, a cityscape, whatever it may be, a bowl of fruit, it's going to be complete. No gaps. My job is to fill in the gaps. And we'll find the gaps. There are things that we need to teach yet, right? We're just getting through verb number 8 and verb number 9, but there's a lot of incidental things along the way that we need to fill in. Imagine, if you will, all these verb numbers, it's like the trunk of a tree and the major branches of a tree. But all the other branches and all the leaves and all the fruit and all the flowers and stuff, those are things that we have to learn as well. And we're learning them, and we've learned a lot, but we'll get to them all. Okay, so now, present subjunctive. Well, we know how to conjugate it, but what does it mean? I'm going to tell you something right now. The present subjunctive is never used alone. It's a 3-step process. How many of you, well, that's not a good question. We have all seen trailers. People go camping on all continents of the world, and they tow a trailer. And so when you tow a trailer, you have a tow vehicle, don't you? And in between the tow vehicle and the trailer, you have a trailer hitch, right? You have a hitch. A trailer by itself is a subjunctive. In our 3-step process, step 3 is the trailer, opposite vowel, the verb and the subjunctive. Step 2 is the trailer hitch. It's going to be the word K. And step 1 is a select group of verbs that are called provocadores. Now in English, a provocador would be like a causing agent, a stimulant, something that causes a reaction. You've got to have a certain type of verb followed by K with which you can use the present subjunctive. Okay, we call them provocadores. There are certain types of tow vehicles. Our next lesson, we're going to have a whole list of the common tow vehicles. Then we're going to have the big word K, and then we're going to have lots of examples of common ways of using the present subjunctive. I am so excited about this lesson. It's the Holy Grail. It really is. This is nirvana. Let's practice. Well, hold on. We got to get our irregulars. What about vaya, esté, de, sea, and sepa? Why are they irregular? Go back to the present tense. Estoy, voy, doy, soy, and say. They do not end in O. So you can't have an O and change it to opposite vowel. It doesn't work. But those are the only 5 verbs you have to be concerned with, all right? So ir is vaya, estar is esté, dar is de, ser is sea, and saber is sepa. All right, so let's conjugate these out all the way. Vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, vayan. Esté, estés, esté, estemos, estén. Right? They all have an accent mark except for the estemos, nosotros form. De with an accent, des, no accent. De with an accent for el, ella. Demos, no accent. Den, den for ellos and ellas. And ustedes, no accent. De, des, de, demos, den. Sea, 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 seamos, sean. No accent. And finally, sepa, from the verb to know or to find out. Sepa, sepas, sepa, sepamos, sepan. So right now, this is what I want you to know. I want you to know that the present subjunctive is verb number 8, and all 5 conjugations are opposite vowel. I want you to know that the opposite vowel for AR verbs is always E, and for ER and IR verbs, it is always A. I want you to know that all those stem changing and quirky things that happen in the present tense, plus the cargars are, right? We've got a lot of things going on that happen in the present tense. They're going to happen in the present subjunctive as well. And I want you to be able to conjugate these in the present subjunctive, all 5 forms like we just did. Let's take a look at these 2 verbs. Mentir. Well, it's E to IE, so it's an IR verb. It's going to have an A. It's mienta, mientas, mienta. But the we form goes from E to I. Mintamos. Mintamos. Divertirse, the same thing. It goes me divierta, te diviertas, se divierta. But for us, it'd be nos divertamos. And it sounds awkward to learn, but nos divertamos. You'll pick up on it. VIR in the middle. Nos divertamos. And then se diviertan. So this is how you conjugate and form all verbs in the present subjunctive opposite vowel. Now, how do you use it? Like I said before, think of the analogy of a tow vehicle towing a travel trailer. A travel trailer by itself isn't going anywhere. It needs a hitch and it needs a tow vehicle. So remember, the present subjunctive is used in a 3-part sentence. The first part will be a special type of verb. We call it a trailer, right? A tow vehicle, right? And then the trailer hitch would be K, and then the trailer would be the subjunctive verb at the end. Let's go with espero. It means I hope. If I want to say I hope we win, it's so easy. Watch this. Espero que. Now, que means that. In English, you can say I hope that we win or I hope we win. You don't need to say that in English. But in Spanish, you need the que. So, I hope we win would be espero que. Come on, opposite vowel. Espero que ganemos. I hope I don't work tomorrow. Espero que yo no trabaje mañana. I hope they serve potatoes. Espero que sirvan papas. I hope you come to the party. Espero que vengas a la fiesta. I hope we don't lose. Espero que no perdamos. It's like the present tense, but opposite vowel, right? How about I hope it rains? That's a UE. Espero que llueva. I hope it's easy. Espero que sea fácil. I hope you know his number. Espero que sepas cuál es su número. I hope we all go. Espero que todos vayamos. Let's go with quiero. I want you to be here tomorrow at 5. Quiero que estés aquí mañana a las 5. I want you to go to the party. Quiero que vayas a la fiesta. I want for them to eat a lot of fruit. Quiero que coman mucha fruta. I want them to read a lot of books. Quiero que lean muchos libros. I want the game to start early. Quiero que el partido empiece temprano. I want you to return tomorrow. Quiero que vuelvas mañana. I want for them to play really well. Quiero que jueguen muy bien. Let's go with necesito. I need you to tell the truth. Even though I'm not saying that in English, it's got to be there in Spanish. Necesito que digas la verdad. I need for you to read this book. Necesito que leas este libro. I need you to write mom a letter. Necesito que le escribas una carta a mamá. I need for them to pick up the trash. Necesito que recojan la basura. I need for them to be here early. Necesito que lleguen temprano. We need for everybody to pray. Necesitamos que todos recemos. Okay? What do you want me to do? So you can take any form of these verbs. Quieres is the to form, right? So what do you want me to do? We're going to go to hacer. ¿Qué quieres que yo haga? What do you want me to bring? ¿Qué quieres que yo traiga? What do you want me to say? ¿Qué quieres que yo diga? You're in physical therapy, right? What do you want me to do? ¿Qué quieres que yo haga? What do you want me to read? ¿Qué quieres que yo lea? Okay? I hope they bring money. Espero que traigan dinero. I hope there's snow in the mountains. Espero que haya nieve en las montañas. I hope it doesn't rain. Espero que no llueva. I hope we win. Espero que ganemos. This is child's play. It's easy. Just you're going to learn our provocadores. Those tow vehicles, the term we use is a provocador. a provocateur, a causing agent, a stimulant, if you will. After them, you can put the K on the trailer hitch and tow your trailer, your verb in the subjunctive. Remember, present subjunctive sentences have three parts: the tow vehicle, the trailer hitch, and the trailer. The tow vehicle is going to be one of these verbs that we mentioned in the present tense. The trailer hitch is always the word K, and then the trailer is going to be whatever verb you want it to be, but it's going to be an opposite vowel. Okay, let's try a few more. I hope that they know the answer. Espero que sepan la respuesta. I hope it's not really difficult. Espero que no sea muy difícil. I hope they give us the money. Espero que nos den, D-E-N, no accent, nos den el dinero. I hope you're here tomorrow. Espero que estés aquí mañana. So when I call it the Holy Grail, just like in that Indiana Jones movie where he goes searching for the chalice of Christ, right? The Holy Grail. Well, with your knowledge now, right, and your tips and your tricks and your tools, you can bake up any communication you want to say. And once we get to the past subjunctive, which is going to be a piece of cake, there should be no hesitation on your part to create and say whatever it is that you want to say, because you have the skills and the knowledge to be able to do it. It's going to become more a question of practice and vocabulary, right? If you don't know vocabulary, I tell you guys a million times, go to profesorpablo.com. It's an ebook I created. It's over 500 pages. It has 9 sections. It is color-coded. It comes with 450 audio lessons that are on YouTube as well, on a different playlist. And it explains everything. If you want to know verbs, there's a section, a dictionary section. There are over 1,000 verbs listed alphabetically in English. On the right side of the sheet, the verbs are translated to Spanish, and then it tells you also, it gives you a clue as to what happens and when it happens. So it's invaluable, and it's $15, right? Normally it sells for $30, but for my YouTube learners, you put in the Pablo promo code, which is Pablo50, Pablo50. Pablo50 is the promo code. You get it for $15. I guarantee it'll be some of the best $15 that you've ever spent, right? It's like a hamburger. Pretty much now with inflation, it's like a hamburger, the cost of a hamburger, right? And maybe a soda pop. Not even that. But check it out. Go to profesorpablo.com. There are examples of all the 9 different sections. I think you'll like it. Once we get all of our verb tenses input, right, and we practice, then we go back and we fill in all the other things that we need to learn. We're going to branch out and start doing me talking about different topics, some on location, not in the studio all the time. So a lot of great things are awaiting us, but anything you can concoct in your head to say, like I would go, if I could, we're going to learn how to say that. Iría si pudiera. That pudiera comes from verb number 9, the past subjunctive, but we're very close. Okay, let's wrap this up. The present subjunctive is verb number 8. All 5 forms are opposite vowel. 4 of the 5 forms you already know from doing your formal commands. The usted, ustedes, the we command, what we call the let's form, and the negative to command. Those are also the same in the present subjunctive. Haga, hagas, haga, hagamos, hagan. That's it. Very simple. We know all the crazy things that happen. We know how to conjugate them. We know the irregulars. And we're just going to practice and get better. Over time, we will get better. Okay, so our next lesson is going to be a lot of fun because now these are the ingredients. Our next lesson, you're going to be baking. You're going to be creating. You're going to be making sentences, building sentences, creating communication. And I'll say it again. Anything you can think up in your head as to what you would want to say, once we get through with verb number 9, there will be nothing that you're not equipped to be able to construct and say. And as we practice them more and more, it's going to become pretty easy. For example, you're going to hear quiero que all the time. If you're around Spanish-speaking people, you're going to hear quiero que. They're going to say to their family, hey, Quiero que me traigas el periódico. I want you to bring me the paper, por favor. Quiero que hagas tu tarea. I want you to do your homework. Espero que no llueva. I hope it doesn't rain. You're going to start hearing these, and it's going to make sense to you. Okay? All right, that's it. The Holy Grail. We have stepped on holy land, ladies and gentlemen. Spanish nirvana is upon us. We're going to work with this present subjunctive and then the past subjunctive, and we're going to keep that ball rolling, gaining momentum. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Hasta la próxima lección. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.